G'day guys and welcome to the Atlanta Major here in the USA. Now man, we have had some amazing games so far and I can tell you what, there are some beautiful blokes about to appear in the server for this next matchup. I'm Steve and here I've got, crikey, it's a spider! Mandy, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing alright mate. No, I can't do it, I'm sorry.
I don't know if I can keep up the accent the whole time.
I don't know if you can. I feel like your regular accent's pretty close, isn't it?
I'll take it, I'll take that.
I feel like you've got a knock-on effect to I feel like my accent becomes more Australian when I talk to you.
Yeah.
Like when I was casting with Carter just then, I was like, can I have a large coffee?
The largest coffee you have. Definitely not going to try accents. I think we should give up now. But we do, of course, have the schedule. Mandy, you've already casted one game, an exciting one. A bit of an upset, would you say, with Crest taking out Sandbox?
So. I would say it's an upset. I mean, Sandbox, they come in with so much experience. And so for Crest on their debut match, in their debut event, to go and do it. Pretty good.
Well, what are the chances that we'll see another upset here? Bliss taking on Wolves. Let's have a look at the bracket. This is Group D that we're playing in for Bliss and Wolves, and there's no doubt about it. This is a group of Davids and Goliaths, and there's no doubt that Wolves and Space Station are the top two picks for this group. But the Aussies of Team Bliss, they do have a shot. This is their second major, and after a disappointing exit in Copenhagen, losing out to Varel and W7M, they're gunning to do better here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is their repeat. They've gone back-to-back majors, which I believe is basically the first time that anyone's been able to do it out of Australia. There's been no Australian team to do it before, and now that OS has that direct in spot, they've been so dominant in their own league that they've now made it back again.
Yeah, very exciting time. But of course, for Wolves, it's been an up and down kind of year. They really peaked at Six Invitational when they managed a top 5 to 6 finish. And as for the stage, of course, they struggled to dominate within Europe in 2023 as much as they did in 2022 when they were actually the back-to-back Europe champions near the tail end of that year. Of course, now, regional rank 3rd. That does mean they make it to Phase 1. They didn't have to play the LCQ. And as you can see, both teams are actually still contenders for the Six Invitational. So they're currently in that top 20, but they are not yet confirmed for SI.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If they're able to make it out of the play-ins, I believe it does then confirm them in for SI. At least that is certainly the case for Bliss. I'm not sure how much Wolves need to make that happen. I imagine it's probably a pretty similar boat for those guys as well. But essentially, if they can make it out of this, they're essentially confirmed for SI.
That's it. And there you go. Well, we saw it for a brief second there. That was for the previous team. But yes, indeed, SI is, of course, what's on a lot of these teams' minds. And it's not just about making it the most prestigious event of the year. It's about all the prize money that comes along with that. And here are the stats. So, wow, okay, 99.9% SI qualification for both teams. I mean, I guess 99.8 for a loss for Wolves. So it's a little bit intangible. It's a little bit hard to wrap your head around, but I'm sure that Sprabuni will sort us out. The stats man himself, he'll fill us in on the exact matters of how it works out for going to SI for these teams later on. For now, what matters is the first BO1 for both of these teams at this event, and it's so imperative that we have a map. So let's have a look at where we're going to be going. Oregon and Skyscraper taken out for Bliss, Border and Cafe for Wolves. This is pretty rudimentary, pretty staple for these teams banned so far.
Well, I actually feel like Wolves have sort of banned out against what they've seen Bliss play as well. I mean, Bliss, we saw them play 2 very dominant Border games, for example, in their own stage, and that's the first ban to come out from Wolves. So I think Wolves doing a bit of tit and tat, right? They're doing a little bit of play to your opponent's weaknesses, but then also ban out some of their strengths as well. Whereas I think for Team Bliss, they're going to be leaning more into their own comfort picks and seeing what strong maps they can bring into this veto.
It looks like Bliss with the final ban, get rid of Bank rather. So we're going to Chalet. And Wolves have decided to start on the attacking side. We were talking about this before when we were looking at the map pools for these teams, but I mean, Bliss, of course, they only play 7 BO1s in a stage. They did not play Chalet at all this stage.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? With the OS League, you really do not have to reveal that many maps. Preparing for a BO1 veto is completely different compared to preparing for a best of 3 veto, and really you only need to know 5 maps if you really want to compete in a BO1 league. And I think for Team Bliss, the big strength that they've been able to do compared from Copenhagen to this major is that they've really been able to take away their experiences from Copenhagen and realize, oh damn, we need an expanded map pool, because by the time you hit that lower bracket, if they do, here in Atlanta, they need way more maps in their map pool. And I think that as a result, we're seeing something completely different now. There is a bit of a danger to me here going to Chalet. Chalet is one of Wolves' best map. If not, it is probably their best map. I feel like would be a fair argument. The only loss that I understand they have on it that's pretty significant is losing out to VP, if I'm not wrong. And well, VP have been pretty strong this stage so far, but really they've beaten Eminem so many times on this. We used to call Eminem the Chalet Kings. They were unlosable on this, but now it's Wolves on top.
Very much so, yeah. And I'm actually having a look back now. I see 3 wins in the last, 3 months against M&M from Wolves on this map. So this is a very well-run and well-executed map for Wolves. They've seen it so many times, but of course that means Bliss have a lot of VODs to analyze. And I'm sure that their new coach, Min Goran, will have done just that. And Fisher Guy as well, the in-game leader for this team, will have been prepping for Wolves. But as you can see, the Europeans at the moment, the French team, or majority French team with this little Swiss edition in Deadshot, they're prepping at the moment with a little bit of team bonding. In contrast, Bliss are ready to play.
Locked in already. They probably had their prep and they're just waiting to jump into the map.
A bit of a laugh.
Yeah. Oh, look, that's kind of what you have to do, right? Like, if you're sitting at your desk and you're being way too serious, you're going to feel really tight once you head into the server, right? So you want to sit there, look at each other, have a laugh, have a smile, make sure that you're feeling loose, that once you get into that server, you're going to be playing some smooth Rainbow Six. Yeah. And I think that's the whole idea with Wolves doing their little team pep talk type thing as well.
Very much so. And if anything, that's what plagued Wolves in the past when they struggled to make it through to playoffs at major events. It was that they were in their head. You know, they dominated Europe last year, but they struggled when they actually got to those big majors, and they're looking very relaxed now, which I think is exactly what Bliss need to be focusing on, because after their debut in Copenhagen, where they failed to deliver on the promises of a flawless stage, they need to do a lot better in Atlanta, in my view at least, for Bliss. It's about going further than they did in Copenhagen. As we are about to get into Chalet, it is Oceania versus France and Switzerland in this banger of a matchup on Chalet. Very much a favored game towards the Europeans, as we can see, but Bliss is not counted out yet.
70-30. I reckon that's pretty good for Bliss. There's got to be a lot of Aussies in chat right now. And for y'all at home, probably some Europeans in the chat at the moment as well. It is currently 6 in the morning, Melbourne time at the moment, I believe it is. So all the Australians in the chat, shout out to you guys. You guys are dedicated to the Rainbow Six grind. That is incredible. And here we go, immediately in through the ban phase for Chalet. Capitao and Twitch, the first 2 operators to be taken out. And Wolves actually identifying that Twitch, a pretty important operator at the moment in the current meta. You really want to be taking out some of those special drone squads because it is such an important operator for those problem-solving tactics. And we know that Bliss, through the mid-round, watching so much of their OS League, they are so good at that.
Yeah, very much so, particularly with the Brava, which has slipped through this ban phase. So I expect that we'll see a lot of Brava in this game, particularly with how effective she can be on Chalet. I feel like both attacker bans are really well thought out and well calculated to counter very specific things from both of these teams. The defense bans, though, a little bit more rudimentary, a little bit more typical. Everyone loves banning the solos. Everyone loves to play a game where you can actually get your bloody drone into the map. And when you can't do that, it's not a lot of fun. It's really challenging on that attacking side to get information. And of course, denying some information with that Valkyrie is always nice too.
Yeah. Team Bliss, they're going to be starting out here on the defending side of Chalet. Typically, we like to say that Chalet is one of the more attacker-sided maps of the entire map pool. Now, with the current way that the game plays out, it sort of doesn't really matter what map it is. It is generally pretty hard to attack. There are a lot of really good defenders on the board, and some of the ones we're seeing actually being played out right here, right now. There's Fenrir on Fisher Guy, and the Azami on stage as well. Both of those staple defending operators that can really create a fortress inside the bomb site. But Team Bliss are actually going to take us down to the basement as the first one.
Yeah, but don't be fooled, they are indeed contesting the majority, if not the entirety of the map. We had Sage setting up on the very top floor. There's a mirror with Brendo inside of Dining. So a lot of map contest from Bliss. It's not going to be easy for Bliss to get control. Even Oda all the way up here in Library. So many hatches, so many rotations available.
It seems like a pretty well thought out defense. Of course, Brendo is going to be the key of the defense, but Brendo is not going to be safe unless the vertical is then safe to his name. But there goes Wedables to kick things off. The first pick out onto Mowgli, the entry fragger from Wolves, taken down within the first 20 seconds of the round.
Welcome to the international stage, Wedables. He's only been playing on Bliss for just a few months after they lost Jigsaw to Europe, joining Koi. And Wedables, man, he has had a phenomenal start with Bliss and already found his first pick here at a major. What a time to be a Bliss fan.
Still holding on to this roam is Wedables as well inside of Story. She does have a rotation hold to fall back into the bomb site if he needs to. But here goes Deadshot, the secondary entry for Wolves on the Nook, able to sneak his way on through. The final point of contest for Team Bliss on that top floor is going to be Sage with the Azami on the other side as well. Actually, he's holding a crossfire with Oda as well, so quite a lot of resistance here in the top floor.
This is a devilish crossfire to deal with. The Deadshot is not going to overextend as of yet. He does not feel the need to commit to this push. Bibu almost set up a nice pre-placed drone, but Bliss managed to spot it in the nick of time. So they will not be able to hold this flank securely. Bliss still have a lot of map control as about half the round has elapsed. But fortunately for Bliss, they've managed to execute a breach onto that main wall.
I think that Wolves are having a think about hitting the bomb site. They've seen the resistance over on the other side of the map and they're thinking, okay, that's a lot of stuff going on. The bomb site, a lot of less stuff, but they're going to be meeting Fisher Guy on the other side. And he is on Fenrir, very self-sufficient defender, and that's what they need to worry about now if they want to shift their focus.
There is indeed a lot of pressure on Fisher here. Now, Wetables has also fallen back to site, so 2 Bliss players to hold down the fort as the Vulcan canisters have started to be taken down by Wolves. 2 players from the French moving down the blue stairs. Wetables has to hold on to this. He's already found 1 kill, the only of this game so far.
And this is where Bliss need to make the call. Do they fall back now? Do they give up the rest of the map, seeing that Wolves are looking to start attacking the bomb site? Otherwise, it's all going to be Fisher Guy with everything left to do. Okay,
Pier 4, that's a fantastic opening with Deadshot baiting it out as Wetables has been taken down in blue. Brendo coming up from that roam, but he might meet P4. Elsewhere, Fisher Guy's on site and dealing a duel with that player inside of blue. But things are coming up nicely for Wolves as another player bites the dust for Bliss. It's all up to Oda now on this upstairs push. And Brendo sneaking his way back to the bomb sites. He might have spotted one, but the cover is there. The C4 nukes out Bibu, but the trade comes through from Deadshot, Deagle in hand, as Oda must 1v2.
Tough spot now for Oda. Nade being cooked as well for Deadshot. It does take a little bit of health off him, but not down just yet. Really tough post plant though for them to actually, for Oda to actually be able to claw this one back from. A player's vacated the bomb site entirely and gone outside. He's going to be able to get the swing onto Deadshot, but not before the crossfire comes through from Shinka. And there is Deadshot to close out the first round for Wolves.
A phenomenal push from the Wolves. And you said it, Mandy, once they identified how heavy Bliss were on that roam, it's better to just push onto the side. As soon as Wetables fell in blue, it felt like the tale was done.
Yeah, tough call there for Bliss. Do they actually give up the map and fall off early, or do they then continue to hold on to that top floor? Because if they want to go in for that retake through the top floor, which is exactly what Oda and Sage tried to do together, that's not the easiest retake for you to do, right? Like, that's a whole side of the map that Wolves now have got control of, and you're trying to inject yourself back into it. I think, unfortunately, just making that executive call just slightly too late allowed Wolves their in onto the bomb site.
Very much so. Now, credit to Wolves. They read that situation really well. Not only did they push the bomb site hard when they saw that the roam was heavy, they also watched for those flanks. And I think, as you said, they took down both Sage and... who was it? Oda, that's right. On the... Well, at least they didn't take down Oda, but they nullified Sage completely. They nullified Brendo as well when he was trying to make his flank. Fantastic read from the French.
Yeah, really nice stuff there from Wolves. I think they just have such a good ability to dial things back and actually have a think about what's going on through the mid-round. Yes, they did look like they were posturing in for a full map clear, but being able to shift their focus like that is a sign of a very mature team, and that's what we know Wolves to be for. Here we go on their reattempt of this second attack now. We don't pay attention to the bomb site very well, do we? Where have they gone? They've gone down to bar and to games, and it does look like they are extending pretty far out over into the top floor. Once again, Bliss looking for a pretty ambitious map of a hold of the entire map.
We're seeing the Gridlock make an appearance and the Finker, the 2 newest operators to be gifted nades as that secondary gadget. As we get a lovely little bit of free cam information into what's going on the site. Now, Fisher Guy's actually got a mirror window he can use, but in sneaks the Brava's drone. It is taken down, however. Really good job from Fisher Guy to make sure Wolves are not able to get that free info on site.
Really interesting as well. Library hatch actually closed for Team Bliss, so it doesn't look like they're going to be holding within library at all. They're not going to be playing that full off strategy. But what that does mean is that Fisher Guy is pretty strong in his stronghold inside of the bomb site. He is going to be on that self-sufficient operator of Warden, so if they do try and go in for an explosive mid-round execute, he will be there to deny that ying.
Here comes a smoke grenade. This will cover off Brendo's mirror. Brendo takes an advanced position. Will he get baited into over-peaking this? Here comes one of those Gridlock nades from Shinka. P4, his nades from the Finker as well. Oh, Fisher Guy's in a tough spot now, isn't he? And he is taken on down. Shinka's done a fantastic job jumping into the side. Sagen left all alone. 1 kill will not be enough. Wolves dominate in the second round over Bliss.
Yeah, really nice one there as well from Wolves to be able to actually go in and execute into the bomb site. They identified the point of least resistance, knowing that the bomb site was essentially vacated. The only person that was really there for resistance was Fisher Guy, and then Oda supporting him there on the Ivy stairs. And being able to go for that explosive execute, even in the presence of the Warden, was a really great play there from Wolves.
Amazing how much control Wolves was able to get and how easy it was for them to focus up on that bomb site. Despite, as you said, library hatch was closed, there are not a lot of ways into the site, and yet they snuck their way in from, or up the snowmobile stairs. I think that Finker player, somehow he gets into bar. He's chucking nades all the way through stock. Fisher guy was in a real rough spot, and Wolves are showing why they picked attack for very good reason. They're up 2-0.
Yeah, I think it's time for Team Bliss to really start to realize that Wolves know how to shift that focus in through the mid round to the late round pretty quick. They realize the point of least resistance a lot quicker than what Bliss are probably used to. In OS, it's a typically pretty slow game. We casted this league like weeks on weeks, and OS plays at a very different pacing, especially compared to EU, even compared to like LATAM, Brazil, that kind of thing. It plays out pretty slow. And so I think for Bliss, they really need to start keeping pace with Wolves here. As soon as Wolves make their shift focus, Bliss need to do the exact same, and that's what they're missing right now.
So we have a very brief technical pause while we get one of the Wolves players back into the game. And as you can see by looking at the player cameras, they're not actually speaking at the moment. This is a technical pause. So there's no discussion of strategy or anything like that. This is just focusing up time. I mean, I think they're having a bit of a laugh. I don't know what they're having a laugh about. I think it's Mowgli who's just finally rejoined the game, and we're about to get straight back into it.
It's always tough with these tech pauses because you have such a momentum reset once you get into it. I don't know if that's going to favor one team over the other. Maybe it's going to give all the Bliss players time to marinate their thoughts, which could be a good or a bad thing.
Yeah. I wonder, like, if you don't have the opportunity to discuss as a team and get all of those thoughts out there, it's just marinating in your own head. You might hit the overthinky, which we love to talk about. The overthinky, it's a devilish just fiend that will creep up on you, and it can really ruin your vibe, ruin your mental. Overthinking is frustrating, to say the least. And for Bliss right now, I think they just have to say, oh, whatever, move on. Next round, new bomb site, see what we can cook up.
Yeah, well, I think thankfully that tech pause wasn't too long, so they can just jump straight back into it. It does look like they are going to change things up. They're not going to repeat the last two, and they're actually going to go over to Master and Office instead as the third bomb sort of choice for Team Bliss. It does look like, though, once again, they are looking for that extension in and across the map. Brendo, of course, with the Mozzie, to allow him to play to his own devices, start off on the other side of the map and see what you can find.
It's really incredible, isn't it, thinking from Team Bliss's perspective, you spend all this time playing in the Oceanic League, which is similar to the MENA League. Like, it's just 7 BO1s, there's not a lot of established teams, and now you're playing Wolves, some of the most experienced and well-renowned players in the world from such a competent region. Here comes something.
Yeah, and it does look like Wolves once again are looking for that direct take into the bomb site, trying to enable Mowgli in, but actually initiated themselves into bathroom.
And look at that, a double kill for P4 as he jumps straight on inside. Now Mowgli has been downed, but immediately it's go time for Oda and Brendo to make this flank back up the stairs. Shinka's going to rappel on in, but P4 has found another one. Brendo finds the first of many that will be required for this clutch to become a reality. Another sharp shot onto Shinka. There's a player on the bed watching his position. Bibu cuts him down. 3 rounds on the trot for Wolves. They are simply untouchable.
Yeah, they have the read on Team Bliss right now. They know that if they just keep attacking the bomb site over and over and over again, going for these direct takes, that's the point of least resistance for Team Bliss. Team Bliss, they're looking for this extension in and across the map. They are everywhere in the early game, but Wolves don't care about that. They completely nullify the roam clear by realizing that they can just hit the bomb site for absolutely nothing.
3 entry kills for P4 as well. If I'm not wrong, he is still their IGL, right, Mandy?
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, I know Shinka takes a lot of that as well, but I'm pretty sure that P4 is still the IGL for this team. And it's not often that you see your in-game leader be the first one in the building and fragging out like crazy. Massive credit to him. P4 is not usually a name that you identify with someone making those entry kills happen, but it was so well coordinated, it was well timed, and he had the aim and the game sense to back it up as well.
We're going to go back down to the basement, Team Bliss. And it makes me wonder if they're going to try anything a little bit different. It does look like they're actually going to forfeit more of this roam this time, right? They're not looking to put that mirror all the way up in the second floor. It does look like it's more focused in on the bomb site instead. I don't actually know where Wettables has put his 2 mirrors down, actually.
Dining, perhaps? No, dining
that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not... okay, they're actually going over... I like this, because this is a more centered roam, let's say that. Like, they're playing a lot closer together, so the trade potential is much more there for Bliss than it was with their ambitious hold through the map. And I think that it means that they're a lot closer to the bomb site as well, right? Their fall-off route is a lot simpler from this position. But here goes Brendo on a spawn peek all the way from West Main.
Takes a lot of guts to make this one work. Mowgli is so close to exposing his head, but he knows exactly where he can and cannot move. Now, Deadshot is going to drone in. He sees Wettables, who's fairly safe right now and can escape down the hatch. A C4 will go out, not enough information, and it will not sink. However, Oda is still on this mirror window at the top of Library and can cover and support his teammate.
What's the response from Wolves here? We've seen them time and time again be able to sneak their way inside of the map and then hit the bomb site straight away, and it seems like that's what Mowgli's looking to do. He really wants that control down the blue stairs to then get an in onto the bomb site, but he's been met by some resistance. Not only there is a player on Ivy, but there's even one on a crossfire on jungle, and that's what they have to worry about, and that's Sage there on the cross.
Big kill now for Bliss, but they had a 4 versus 5 in their favor the last time on this bomb site as well, after Wettables found a spawn peak, and they did not convert the round. It was Mowgli then who also fell first. Wolves are still very much in this round.
Stalled out a little bit though, are Wolves, having lost out that entry pick. Do they then do the same execute into this front side of the map, or do they then go to the back side of the map and do something from Big Garage? All the drone work that's going out here inside of storage does indicate to me that they are still looking to relentlessly put the pressure onto this map. But here goes P4 again, the exact same spot that Mowgli was in. Is he going to face that same crossfire, or is he going to make the better of it?
Deadshot's looking to make something work with the nade as Wettables going to be exposed. The 3 armor sustains just enough damage to get away with his life as Deadshot's looking for more. P4 going hunting now up the stairs. He is a hungry wolf after all. Wettables is down, but not out as of yet. I believe Oda may have forfeited his position. He's moved on over towards Mezzanine, and he's looking for an angle. Gets a bit of damage, but the support from down under, Shinka takes him down, and Wettables will surely be finished off before too long, assuming that Wolves can find him. He's hidden in this corner, and so they may still wonder, where has Wettables gone?
No, but now it's translation time here for Wolves. There's only 30 seconds left to go, and the remaining Bliss players have all vacated the roam. They're all back on the bomb site in the safety of each other's crossfire, and here they go. Down the blue stairs comes the funnel. The first person to leave the charge will be Deadshot, but he's taken down.
Oh, big double kill from Sage! Looking for a third now as Bliss have their first opportunity to find an opening round. Wettables finally bleeds out, but there's information on the site. There is a Dreadnought to keep Shinka at bay, and as he looks for the final kill, Fisher, guys, serves him with a faithful
as well from Team Bliss, realizing they could not hold on to the entire map, but they could segment it instead and stop Wolves in their tracks, stop them from doing these free direct takes and let them come to them in the early gunfights instead. And what a great crossfire that was being held on the ground floor. It completely stunted out Wolves, and then by the time that Wolves finally got their chance to execute, all the Bliss players read early on, we need to be back in the bomb site, and there were 3 of them there to do that.
fantastic time delay game from Bliss in that round, what they failed to do in the previous round. For me, the telling moment though, Mandy, in both of those basement rounds has been the tail of blue at the end of the round. And Sagen finding both of the kills there, as opposed to what happened previously where Wettables fell straight away and seceded that map control. That really spelled death for Wolves at the end of it. As we can see, Bliss have now taken their tactical timeout. Mingoran has once again put his microphone back up, and they're figuring out what bomb site to go to next and how to change.
I like his notepad. That's real cute. It's got like a little
pom-pom?
pom-pom on it or something. That's cute. I like that.
Mingoran,
Oh, it's
very
Pororo.
cute.
That's so cute. Anyway, sorry. Little
You say
happy.
Totoro?
No, Pororo. Like the little pink thing. Not Kirby. The other one.
Okay, I don't.
Anyway,
Sure.
don't worry. It's okay. All is well. Anyway, we're going to go back into the
Is this a
next
Korean or
defense.
Japanese thing
I
or
think this is Korean, I believe.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, we're going to go over to the next defense for Team Bliss. They are going to send themselves over to Bar and Games. And once again, adaptation in their strategy. They're not looking to extend their roam, but instead hard hold in this library position. I can only imagine that hatch is going to be open this time instead of closed. And they're actually going to play this position for their life. Not only do they have just the Jaeger inside that corner, but there's the Wilmai as well on Fisher Guy, and I can only imagine that's going to enable that library defense to be pretty strong.
Yeah, indeed. It is very much for Bliss an idea of holding on to this top floor, very much demonstrating that they have quite a deep strat book, as you said, polar opposite to what they did last time. We see all the ADSs. Wilmai will generate these magnets. My concern for Bliss is that Wolves, I mean, they're no rookies, and they have a hell of a lot of projectiles to take it down. Just have a look at that lineup.
Yeah, that's certainly right. It's going to be on the onus of Fisher Go to actually be able to fall off at the right time. That's a nice nade as well from Mowgli, anticipating that the frost mat would be there early. He's just going to send one in nice and early and make sure that's been taken down for the execute to come later. Meanwhile, Shinka, Gridlock, important operator now, has got grenades, especially for a take like this.
Yeah, and also those track stingers as well could spell unfortunate things. Here come the flashes from the Yana with Mowgli on rappel with the Finker to follow up with the nade. In comes the track stingers. The nade actually clears them and Fisher guy survives.
There's still another set though on Shinka. He's cooking them right now. He's going to send it in, but actually gets cut off by the cutoff of Deadshot all the way over on the double window. That's the first pick that they needed, and they've done it within a minute.
That was phenomenally played from Wolves and very efficient, as you said. Great timing. Fisher guy completely shut down out of that round. With that now, Wolves will continue to push onto this bomb site. Good control now. As Mowgli's made his way into mud, Brendo feeling the pressure, sensing that someone has made their way into that position, and he wonders, can I take that fight?
I like this from Wolves. They're really thinking a step ahead of the curve here, realizing, yes, we have that top floor control, but we don't want to get stalled out there. Let's think about the bomb site immediately and start to put that pressure down. Brendo's really feeling it.
He wants to take this fight. He knows that they're a man down. But Mowgli's playing it so cleverly as well. He's playing so passively, and he uses the adrenal surge to heal himself back up.
Good stuff here from Mowgli, still holding on to his position, not getting overzealous and looking for the peak. He's waiting for one of his teammates to initiate him in, and that's what Deadshot is going to be important for. He still has all 4 of his Yin Candelas and 2 smoke grenades. That's going to be the turning point of this execute.
So much map control for Wolves and a lot of time to do it with as well. Oda down below, taken out. P4 springs into action, drops the hatch. Mowgli wins his one. Now Sage's brother will have to do what he could not. Brendo finds the first of the round for his team, but is swiftly dealt with by P4 once again. Wedables, the newest addition, with 4 to find, and he will not get a damn thing. P4 is on fire today as Wolves sweep through another round.
And such a well-drilled attack as well from Wolves. They knew exactly what they needed to do to clear out that corner library dark position, and they did that to perfection. Not just that, but they didn't even get stalled out there in the top floor, realizing that's all the control that they need, and they can start to have a think about that bomb site. Even then, everything was set up for that execute in the early phase. Mowgli getting the nade onto the frost mat. Not just that, but Brendo in the last few seconds was actually caught in a goo mine as a defender,
really?
right? And so you can only think, like, I can't remember, I think it was Bibu who was playing the Brava in the last round as well. That's what he was doing through the mid-round, doing all that work, preparing. Oh no, you can't hack those anymore.
Maybe it wasn't.
Maybe it wasn't. I was going crazy because of the
Could have been a Fenrir device, perhaps?
Yeah, I don't know. That could have been it. I don't know. But I swear, in the last few seconds, there was a defender caught in a defender gadget there, and I was like, what? Like, what is going on there? But anyway, I think I'm going crazy. But anyway, Bibu is a really important operator here, right? Because he's on that Brava and is spending that entire mid-round droning and preparing for that execute. And then as it comes through, they just do it simultaneously all together.
Yeah, that Brava's been so powerful on this map. Now, we would expect Chalet to be attacker-sided, but perhaps not this attacker-sided, Mandy, especially if Wolves can win this next round, which, I don't know, most signs are pointing to the fact that they probably will. I think that Bliss will have a really hard time of coming back in the second half. Even if they get a 2-4 here, it's not going to be easy.
No, it's certainly not. And so really going to be looking for this final 6th round as well, our Team Bliss. And it looks like they're completely changing up their bomb site as well. And they're going to go over to Master and Office, which I think is fair enough. It's one of those bomb sites that if you have the Azami up, which is exactly what Wedables is doing, you can play a little bit closer in towards that bomb site and try and create a stronghold within the bomb site rather than looking for that extension, which I think is a good play here against Wolves. But here goes Mowgli on the entry. Oh, really nice shutdown there from Brendo early on.
And that is the 3rd time Mowgli has gone down early for Bliss. And hang on a second, Wedables has found, 3 kills. I looked down for a second and Wedables farms the Wolves. Bliss might have had a rough couple of rounds, but that is a flawless one to send us into the second half.
Crazy round from Wedables as well. 3 players jumping in through the trophy window, one from Westmate, of course, and he takes down all 3 of them to his name in his own little power position. Wolves not quite respecting the power positions there on the defense of Team Bliss, and they funnel their way straight on in.
Damn, Wolves jumping in windows worked on the previous Master attack when it was Bathroom, that Bathroom rush, but it certainly did not work then. Absolutely not. Read perhaps just a little bit off. As you said, a lack of respect, and Bliss are starting to read into this hyper-aggression that Wolves have displayed. They sprinkled through their gameplay. Now on the half switch, Mandy, I don't know where I sit. I think this is I still think Wolves have had some incredibly dominant rounds, but I wouldn't count Bliss out yet by far.
Well, I think the tough thing to think about here is that, like, no matter what map it is, it's pretty hard to attack at the moment. I mean, we saw a lot of the adversities that Wolves had on their attacking half, especially when it came in to that execute phase. If they didn't quite have the read on where the Fenrir gadgets were, if they hadn't prepped for the execute early, like taking out frost mats, you know, making sure that they were ready for that, it was pretty hard to execute. But Wolves are Wolves. They're super good when it comes to the execute phase. If Bliss can then replicate that success, then yes, we're going to have a game on our hands. But, I mean, that's the Wolves' MO, right? They're so good at those late round executes. I don't know if Bliss can do the same.
It's a great question. Bliss have brought some different things to their lineup. You said special drone squad, right? And here's the Bravo once again. Sage, I believe that was a Fenrir gadget that he managed to hack there successfully. We also have the Flores, which used to be a real staple on this map, but hasn't seen as much light recently. Sage is going to move in again. I believe that the defense has already cleared that Fenrir gadget, and there's quite a few of these bulletproof cameras to try and track down these drones. Sage will have to look for one of them.
Yeah, this is good. This is really setting up for the execute later on. They've anticipated that, okay, bar is relatively clear at the moment. The only point of resistance is Bibu right in the corner, who's then gone and spotted that Fudge drone, so caught in 4K. But Bliss do have an idea that it is possible that they could go in for this execute in through the lobby side of the map if they want to. Meanwhile, though, they are also working other avenues at the same time. Fisher guy is going, all right, you work on the lobby side. I'm going to see what I can get done on the top floor, and then let's go from there.
There has been some decent work on this top floor. Brendo's got a lot of information. Damn, there's a lot of pre-placed as well. Thanks to that solar span, Bliss have got all kinds of information around the map, but not really getting a lot of players spotted as of yet. And in fact, Wettables is the first one to see someone, immediately loses his life to P4. Can I just point out, this guy's about to hit double digits. P4 is fragging it out of his mind in this game.
It does look like that Bliss are now posturing in for that side execute. 3 players outside the double window going into games room. But do Wolves have the read on it? They've got all 5 players up, and I think surely P4 on the Fenrir is ready for this.
Here comes a nade from Oda, burning that magnet at first. The nade is sent on in, and it does take down that keeper barrier, but there's also a mirror window straight up behind it, and so many defenders to support.
Deadshot's starting to feel the pressure, but not too much. He's in the safety of his teammates around him as well. Mowgli holding onto his back, making sure that he cannot be flanked by any attackers coming in from the office side, but it doesn't look like anyone is there. Team Bliss now a little bit stalled out in through this mid-round, trying to clear this power position.
There's still ADSs and magnets to support. P4 finds a second player, and Deadshot on this mirror window is still doing a lot of damage. He finds the first, and Mowgli doubles on down onto Brendo. Fisho guy, the last one remaining. He is in quite a spot to bother. 1 versus 5. It feels like we've seen Bliss in this situation far too frequently, and 1 kill here or there will not turn the tide for Fisho.
Bibu to finally take him out as well is going to secure another round for Wolves, and a very disciplined defense as well from them. I really think the play to point out there is P4. I feel like it's been like that the entire game, but especially in that round, all of the attack was so fixated in on that top floor. It felt like they were sending in utility after utility, trying to clear out library, trying to clear out lobby, right? But P4 was down inside of the basement thinking, there could still be someone here. There's a player unaccounted for, and it was Wettables, and he took him down. Not only that, but the final player as well outside of lobby, the only isolated other player, P4 also took down. That was Sage outside of lobby, and so I think that if there's any player to commend in that one, it's P4 on that Fenrir. Such a self-sufficient gadget.
Yeah, and he's hit his 10 now as well. He's this may be one of the best games I've seen from P4. He's just not usually a frontline player for this roster, and I'm really loving seeing him come to life and show what he can do. Wolves have really shown quite a phenomenal gameplay right now. Like this is next level stuff. They are really teaching Bliss quite a bit of a lesson. I think Bliss have coming through, and yes, they're used to the Oceanic region, but they're also used to scrimming all of these teams from the various APAC regions as well. And it's just another beast completely to play against a team like Wolves, especially in their current form.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time to adjust if you're an Australian player. You go from playing scrims on with like the Japanese players, the Korean players, and the Singaporean players.
Ping.
Yeah, 100 to 120 ping, and then suddenly you go and play LAN with like the 3rd best team in EU at the moment. It's a completely different ballpark for them to be playing in.
2 rounds away for Wolves to continue their bracket run. But for Bliss, at least I guess you could say they've done a hell of a lot better than they did against W7M in their opening game in Copenhagen. But they have high hopes for this major, a lot higher than getting 2 rounds against Wolves, so they will look for a 3rd at least.
They look a lot more competitive in this game as they look for their sweep across the map. seems to be the play. The first point of entry will be Sage in down below. It doesn't look like Wolves have extended over this way entirely, though. All of their defense is more claustrophobic in towards the bomb site. They're just holding on to that top floor, making sure that Bliss can't actually complete that sweep all the way in through the top of the map.
Flank watch as well, thanks to the vertical game from Wettables. That's nice. Bit of flank watch from the Gridlock as well. But funnily enough, Wolves are going to a bomb site that we didn't see even once from Bliss here in Dining. And it requires clearing this top floor and then moving on down, which is going to take quite a bit of time for Bliss.
Well, that's the thing. They don't necessarily need a full sweep the top floor if they don't want to, right? If they can get the main wall open and the office wall open as well, all they need to do is make sure that they can't hold onto the vertical, which is what it looks like they're doing at the moment, right? 2 players situated over on the windows and on the breach, making sure that Wolves can't then go and retake inside of office and then play the vertical.
Okay.
Really nice line of sight as well from Fisher Guy.
Yeah, he is traded back, but Sage has found the first pick as well. And we see Wolves falling all the way back here into Solar. Now Bibu's supported by this Kiba barrier, and he hears Oda on the other side of that window, waiting for his moment. He takes Wettables' head clean off. Is there a refrag? Not the right direction for Bliss. Oda finally gets in the building and takes one player back to the grave, but P4 will fall back to the site. Hatch is open, but it's up to Oda and Sage now. 50 seconds to play.
They have the opportunity for vertical here with the sledge in hands of Sage, and that's going to dislodge the 2 players on the bomb site. It's going to force them to vacate it, but that's Oda that now needs to translate that pressure, and there he goes. Sage to take down Shinker and leaving P4 all alone in the 1 versus 2. 30 seconds left to do it, but his Penrio gadgets are still up. It's doable.
This is the most dangerous player in the server today. P4 has been everything for Wolves. And as time ticks away, Bliss must decide, kill or plant. Sage still doing vert above, and he still has not found P4. There's such an obvious place that he hasn't yet checked. And as he drops this hatch, he will fall right into P4's waiting arms. Oda and P4 trade directly. Sage survives the round for Bliss.
Great mid-round call as well from Fisher Guy, the IGL, to say, okay, we've got so many picks on this top floor, let's just get the control. Let's just do it. Mini execute into that top floor. They didn't necessarily need to do that. They didn't have to. But because Wolves had gifted them those picks, they went, let's translate that instantly. And they got their sledge in. They actually played that vertical immediately off the back of that. I really liked the rotation as well from Oda. There's no point in putting 2 people on the vertical, right? Because the idea of the vertical isn't always to get the kill, but to vacate the bomb site. And as they go in for that rotate outside of the bomb site, that's where Oda is there to meet him, right? And even then, there was still a kill that came out through the vertical anyway. So I think Team Bliss playing that super well all the way from the early game through to the 2v2 and then winning it out situationally.
And yet, even when Bliss play it so well, Wolves find so many picks in reply. Wettables has had a good start to the game. He had a good close, if you remember, his final match against Triple R, which was the team that Bliss were fighting for against to try and get that major spot. Wettables had an insane game. I can't remember how many kills he got in the end, but he was absolutely nuts. He opened up this match with a spawn pick. Since then, he's had a few too many early deaths, and I think that he's kicking himself. We saw him on the cams there for a moment, and I think Wettables will be frustrated when he's succeeding the man advantage for Bliss. But you're going up against Wolves. These players are insane. They will always push for refrags.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point that you have to make, right? The games are going to be scrappy. It doesn't matter. What you do, what you have to do to get it done. And hang on a moment. Here goes Team Bliss almost directly going into the bomb site. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
it did look like they were posturing for it, but they're actually not.
Moment. Yeah, there's still a lot of information on site and 2 players. This is Army as well. Wolves have consistently used to just further fortify positions on site. You've got Mira, Azami, you've got a deployable shield, and you've got the Warden as well. Like, that's so much to support the site presence for Wolves and allow 3 players the freedom to roam as well.
Thinking time now for Team Bliss as they start to make their way in towards them. They had their early site pressure done. That's the checklist off the map. But now can they get control elsewhere? And that's Brendo. The first point of contest inside of the building, inside of Library. The rest of the Wolves aren't exactly in that position. They've fallen off all the way inside of Kitchen, around West Main. They're looking to actually put the resistance over on this back take rather than a front take.
Sage really needs to find the information gathering for Wolves on site. Try and deny that info. He can hack it, opens up an opportunity for Bliss to flood the site. Now Bibu's slowly but surely making his way back to the site, so he's wasted enough time. He's happy to move back. Bliss, I don't believe, have actually mopped up the map control that has now been seceded. P4 still in the top floor though, he's droned.
Reloading!
I like this from Wolves. Just peeling it back one at a time, but don't overcommit to the fall off. Bibu knows, okay, they might need my armies on the bomb site. I'm just going to fall off. You guys stay up here and see what you can find. And they've read this really well. Bliss are still looking for that full roam clear, but here goes Brendo, or actually Oda on the entry on the other side. P4, he takes a little bit of damage off Oda, but decides to fall off.
Yeah, but not completely. He's still standing inside of West Main. He hasn't even moved away yet. Fishigai looking to open the hatch on site. Deadshot also in position to fall back as Mowgli takes down Brendo as the opening pick of the round. 45 seconds to play.
And Mowgli's going to get aggressive with it as well. He's going to sit in an off angle to make that crossfire work with his teammate going down into blue, but they know. I feel like Oda certainly has an inkling that Mowgli is here.
Oh, he knows, but he doesn't get the timing. The perfect bait with Mowgli supported by Shinka down below and P4 as well. Here comes a smoke, runs straight on through by these players on Wolves. Sagen has to make good on this presence, but it's P4 on the other side. He falls, and a double for Sage. Here in blue, Bliss dominate, but they fall afterwards one by one. Wettables, the last man standing for the Aussies, and the French will take him down handily. Match point on the cards for Wolves.
And great discipline as well from this team. Such great discipline in through that mid-round decision-making, realizing that Bliss could be in a potential spot to hit the bomb site, but they're not going to. They're still going to look to try and take what map control that they can gain. And with Bliss getting a bit ambitious to try and do that, it meant that the remaining two players of Wolves there on the room, Deadshot and P4, they continued to waste that time. And as it dwindled down, even though Bliss tried to then translate it down into the basement, it wasn't enough.
Certainly wasn't. It's funny, watching this game, watching how Wolves have read into Bliss's playstyle and adapted the way that they're going from going for rushes to now on defense playing really passively, playing really slowly, contest, fall back, contest, play safe. It reminds me of something, Manny, that we used to hear from a lot of the Asian APAC teams, so your teams from Japan and Korea and Thailand, etc. They would always say, Australian Siege is too slow. Which is funny, coming from people outside of APAC, you probably think, well, APAC Siege is known for being really fast. That's the Asian teams. The Aussies, they try a little bit too hard sometimes to play methodically, play slow, and it's something that ends up biting them in the backside when teams like Wolves know how to exploit it.
Well, I think that's the challenge of Chalet as a map. I think that Chalet tends to play a little bit different in terms of like the method game of like Oregon and Clubhouse, for example, because Chalet, spawn peek from Deadshot onto Oda. Yuck, that's not cool. Through the window, hopped up on a slight off angle through the bathroom window, is going to catch out the first player of Bliss. Wolves on match point as well. That could spell disaster for Team Bliss.
I want to know how he made that angle work. Like, he was prone, boosted up on something. I don't even know how you do that. He also had his teammate Mowgli looking from a different crack in the same window. Yeah, so he was prone on the lamp next. Was he prone on that lamp? I don't even know. That's strange stuff. Sage has taken a hell of a lot of damage. Mowgli wants to peek him as well. Oh, this is not looking too nice for Bliss. But Sage finds Deadshot. Can he find Mowgli as well? Out goes an impact. Sage finds the double. And he's broken 10 kills now as well for Bliss.
4 on 3 as well. Man advantage now in the hands of Bliss, despite the first pick not going their way. So within the realm of possibility. Not just that, but by taking down those two players, they completely vacated one side of the map, and that's given space for Wettables to now jump in on his own. It's Lion, and he's now going to be the next point of contest to fight this out with Sage.
Sage is so low though. Brendo, however, has found Shinka. Maybe, Manny, this is indeed winnable. Despite losing Oda early, it seems not to matter. On the rest of the team, step up. P4 and Bibu now in a clutch position. P4 on the mezzanine. Bibu prone inside of Library, taken down. The top fragger must do it all. The first one falls. 3 more to find now for P4 on match point for Wolves. But Brendo, ever so patient, will deal with him handily. Fist pumps for Bliss as they stay alive for yet another round.
Great translation there from Bliss. Even though they lost out the first pick, it didn't matter because Sage was able to get the double onto the 2 essential roamers on the other side of the map. And as soon as that space was given to them, they went, we can now sweep the map because we have that real estate off the back of that double. And being able to come in and then just a collapse on the remaining players onto the bomb side is exactly what Bliss needed to do, especially Brendo there with a 2k on his own on the other side of the map, closer to in towards the bomb site. That just sealed the deal for them on the attack.
My. Wolves are a funny bunch, aren't they? The way they've been playing this game.
Yeah.
They have just been so bipolar in the way that some of these rounds have played out.
Yeah, that last round was so different, right? Like the round before the last round, they were so disciplined to put themselves on match point. And then that last round, like, why is there 2 people peeing Sage on the double window? You know, like, what's going on? What is happening there? They want to end the game.
You're playing an APAC brand of Siege against Bliss, who exclusively play within APAC. Maybe cool it down. Play your passive, your like peel back the layers of the onion style Siege, and I think that's a better counter to Bliss. If you just start getting all aggressive, yeah, you might find a spawn peek here or there, but Bliss are very comfortable and used to playing against that playstyle.
Well, look, Wolves, they tried to end the game early and it didn't quite work out, so now we're going to go into another round and another attempt for Team Bliss to land an attack. The bomb site is going to be back inside of Baron Games for Wolves, and it does look like they're extending pretty heavily across the entire map, but Team Bliss look like they're posturing in towards this library control to start things off. That being said, every time I've called a Team Bliss attack, I've got it wrong.
It's hard on Chalet, to be fair.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut for another 30 seconds.
Well, I guess that means I'll have to talk then, Mandy. Oda has survived the spawn peaks this round. As he gets some information, he's going to take down the West main camera through a wallbang. Looks like Wolves have once again changed tack, and they're going for that very safe and slow kind of a defense. Let Bliss come to them. Maybe put a little bit of pressure here or there, but always calculated and always safe. Do not give Bliss an opportunity to steal the man advantage.
It does look like Bliss are actually going in for that library type execute. The strength in having Hibana in the lineup at the moment is that not only can you take down these army barricades, but you can take down the mirrors as well. Ooh, but by not taking down these army barricade first, he can then go in, dead shot, and actually shoot off the thingies off the mirror instead. So it's not a little bad bit of micro from him.
That's very good from Wolves. And elsewhere, Wetables has actually made his way into Solar. Now, Bliss could give it another crack with those Hibana X Kairos, but I think that they need to, first deal with that Kiba barrier, deal with the player playing in the display hallway, which it seems like Wetables is now going to be able to do.
I like this from Wetables. Take the space that's given to you. That's the way that you approach and play Chalet with a much more modern sense. And now here goes Fisher Guy on his re-attempt at taking down that Keeper barricade. Is it successful this time? Hopefully it is, and Brando's going to send in an aid to try and help him out.
Oh, and Oda from the balcony finds Mowgli. That's the display hallway player. A second one may creep up from the stairs. And indeed, that's what has happened now as P4 has snuck back to replace his teammate. In come the flashes, the nades likely to follow as Deadshot is in a world of hurt at the moment, feeling pressure from Oda. The frags, he somehow dodges them. P4's gone down. Another E1D. Deadshot is in pure hell right now as he spots the finger of Brendo. He wants to take the fight. He finds it. A second one, perhaps not to be. Oda, a triple on the round, and 2 players still to find for Wolves.
Incredible execute as well from Team Bliss over into the top floor, and they can identify Bibu in the off position. It's going to leave Shinka all alone in the 1 versus 3 with 30 seconds left to do it.
1v4 for Shinka on site, predictable position. Bliss cannot fumble the back now. They've droned him out, and a spray from outside the window secures the round for Fisher Guy. Bliss are just a single round away from pushing into overtime. And on that, I believe Wolves have just called a tactical timeout.
Great attack as well from Bliss. Well drilled. Seriously, well drilled. The tandem of the utility with the cutoffs from Oda as well outside of the cabinet's window. The kills just came to him, and that's because they were initiated in by Fisher Guy and by Brendo outside on that library balcony, forcing those players to be out of position, dislodging them, and then giving them to their teammates. And that's what the power of Fisher Guy on the IGL is, right? He's in that position where he can make sure that he puts full trust in his teammates. You will get this kill. I'm going to give this one to you. Just do it. And that's the Team Bliss magic.
I mean, credit to Bliss. I think that's probably their most impressive round yet. It wasn't just about denying this aggression from Wolves. It was about identifying what is this setup, how can we problem solve it, how can we action these ideas that we've got. And even when things didn't pan out so well, Bliss were happy to pivot, and they one by one systematically picked apart this defense from Wolves. Now the French will have to discuss it. P4, hands in the air. What was he saying, I wonder? It looked like frustration, Mandy, I admit.
Well, sometimes that's Chalet, right? Sometimes it doesn't feel like you're doing anything wrong except making silly mistakes. And on Chalet, where cut-off angles and playing crossfires exterior to the map is so prevalent, that can be really frustrating to play against. Sometimes it doesn't feel like you're doing anything particularly wrong, but you can be caught out by just something small. And that's what Bliss have been able to exploit in that last attack.
So many power positions on Chalet, but if you expose your foot for a brief moment, that costs you a position, it costs you the round. And that's how unforgiving this map is to play on the defense. We saw it in the first half with Wolves going up 4-2. Now we're seeing it in the second half where Wolves have struggled 2 rounds in a row to have any form of success on their defense. And now looking to change up the bomb sites once again, Mandy. Believe it or not, Kitchen Dining, where we're going, is the first round that Bliss managed to win in this second half. Can they repeat that? Will we see overtime?
Well, you have to think about how Bliss won this bomb site last time, right? They were all over in the top floor, once again, playing the cutoff angles, and then just suddenly, bam, 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 3 picks come out from windows. So you can only imagine P4 in that tactical timeout going, guys, relax, you know, like don't stick your head in windows because there is like a Bliss play on every single window. Just relax, right? And I think that's what Wolves need to do here if they want to secure this last defense.
Wedable's on the Brava now. He's hacked one of the Dreadnoughts. Oh, FNATs, sorry. I keep calling them Dreadnoughts. Dreadmines.
Dreadmines.
There you go. Oda is indeed on one of these very long angles watching for a player, but it has now been plugged thanks to that Kiba barrier from Mowgli. Deadshot is holding onto this top floor. He might actually be able to spot out Wedables, but really great job from Bibu on that bulletproof camera to use the EMP to stun out that gadget before it's able to cancel that camera. Now, still pressure from the windows as well. Deadshot's in a world of hurt, and what a long angle from Oda. It's exactly as you painted it, Mandy.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Team Bliss can now try and translate this into a solo take, but not just yet. There are still 2 players inside this top floor. It's not safe to repel in unless they have some flashbangs, unless they can initiate that entry to come on in.
How long will Mowgli be able to hold onto this position? A drone spotted, 2 taken down. Sagen once again re-droning this position. Bliss need boots in the building, or they need to find a pick from these repels, and they don't have a ton of time to do it. Remember, the top floor is not the bomb site. There might be over a minute left remaining. Once they take this, they're going to have to convert down below.
Fisher guy lets that line scan ring on out, and that's going to enable Oda his way into the building, and he's going to be able to take down Mowgli. Only 1 player left in the top floor now, that's Bibu. He's going to rotate out. Oda not quite taking that engagement, but a half HP immune is all that stands in the way of this top floor, and that's Oda to take him down. Now, full control here for Team Bliss, but P4 able to collect 1 back.
Oh, but not the second. He was looking for it. He was desperate for it, but Brendo is so consistent on this window, and now the Maestro is trapped. Fisher guy does not commit to the fight, which may be the right decision in his position.
There's only 40 seconds left, though, for Team Bliss to do this. Like, yes, there are 2 players on the bomb site, but there's still a plethora of utility here for P4. He's still got all his Fenrir gadgets up, but he's going to be taken down himself. It's all Shinka in the 1 versus 4. If there's any gun to do it, it's the Alva.
First one found. 3 more to find. 20 seconds left. 1 player to move on down from the stairs, but Oda puts it in the bag. Overtime is on the cards as Team Bliss find 3 in a row.
And this could be the upset of Phase 1. I'm going to call it right now. Team Bliss, if they can take down Wolves here, what is this? An Australian team to take down 3rd place Wolves? That would be a mad upset if that goes through. This game certainly deserving of overtime.
Look, Mandy, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. It's 6-6 at the moment, even scoreline. But I will say one thing. In overtime, Bliss are starting on that attacking side. This has been an attacker's game through and through. 8 rounds for the attack, only 4 for the defense. You might be onto something here. Wolves, once again, for the 4th time in a row, must try to scrounge together a defense. But again and again, it has been an immense challenge for the French to do so.
They need to get themselves together and make sure that they're not falling to the cutoffs here of Team Bliss. Bibu himself is going to fall off onto that Azami position now. Last time we saw them play this basement defense, I really liked what Wolves were doing. I really liked that they didn't overcommit to the fall off, and they still dedicated players in through that top floor. Throughout every single step of the round, Wolves have been putting the resistance to Team Bliss through the early stages all the way down to the late game, and I feel like that's the medicine that they need in this round as well. If there's any bomb site that Bliss are not going to be able to get cutoffs on, surely it's this one. It's the basement. There are no windows here that you can just sit outside and look your way in onto the bomb site, right?
Well, one of the only 2 rounds of defense that Wolves won in regulation was in fact on this bomb site. And, well, it's hard to say that Bliss will have much success in attacking it, to be honest, Mandy, because they struggled to do so the only time it was played. If anything, I'm surprised Wolves didn't reattempt it in one of those 3 final rounds at the end of that half. Clearly they know something we don't, and they decided it was not the right decision to do so, so they'll go back here. But how much of a roam is there present? How much map control will Bliss be able to take for free?
That's why they've brought along the Jackal, though, right? They really want to do a full top-down clear of the map, see what that they can get. And Oda jumping onto that Jackal is going to expedite that process. But the fall-off route from Wolves last time was just so nice. It was so smooth, really well played. They didn't overcommit to it. It makes me a little nervous for Bliss here, even though they've committed so much to this roam clear.
Bibu on the Azami. Azami has been such a powerful operator all of this game. It enabled so much for these defenders. For Bibu, it was retreating back to the bomb site, as you said, such a good fall off. Now Fisho Guy takes down one of those FNATs, the Dread Mines, on the office door as he peeks his way in and gets straight back out again. But have a look at this position from P4 here in the bathroom. Oh my God! He's lost his feet, he's lost his head. And now Sage unlikely to sow a second nade in as Brendo is able to finish off P4, but Bibu gets the last life onto Fisho Guy.
Oh, here goes Mowgli as well on his peek out onto the piano window, but taken down by Oda. The second pick of the round going in the way of Team Bliss, but not without the casualty of Fisho Guy. Now they've still got to translate it. I believe there is still play left in the top one. That's Bibu. Very hard to dislodge, but he's going to be able to fall off through the hatch. Only a minute left to go, though, for Team Bliss on this attack as the rest of Wolves are going to retreat to safety.
A 3v4 now for the defense as all of the defenders are back onto the site. Bliss, they've got some time to work with. They've got some smokes for an execute. There's no Warden on the board. They've got vertical potential, but do they have time to figure out that the map is clear, that all of the players are on the site? They're still clearing dining.
Only 40 seconds left to go, and like you said, it's going to be a tough one to translate. It's going to be Fisho Guy, the IGL calling in from the grave. But without that hard breach, Wettables has got it all to do in this position, right? Not only does he have to open up this back wall, then he's got to get elbow open as well. There's so much and so little time.
24 seconds now left on the clock as the Azami barriers protect these players on site. A C4 finds very little for Shinka, but it may have denied an entry. I do not believe so. Bliss now looking for a match point. Wettables with the opener as Oda pushes in for a plant. Brendo must cover as Bibu has a 1v3 beset before him, but he will not survive. Sagen to close the round, and Bliss have match points over Wolves.
And Bliss want to have a conversation in this series. What a translation down into the basement. They were really ticking down on the time there. It was only one attempt that they had gotten on that execute, but as they went down, Wettables really opened up the bomb site for them. He went, oh gosh, okay, I'm the only hard breach left. I really got to get these walls open. And as soon as that had happened, all of the Bliss players went in and collapsed on the final players of Wolves. Some really sharp shooting from the final entries going into the bomb site. Wettables in particular, not only does he open up the wall, but opens up the bomb site as well, the first one in, and Oda to get the plant down. What a great execute from Bliss.
It was heart and mouth stuff, though, to be honest. Even with the man advantage, time ticking away, Bliss had to get everything right, and they did. Wolves now, 4 rounds in a row. Nate, yeah, 4 rounds in a row. They've lost now. Can it be a 5th? Will they hold on? Now that we've switched back onto the attacking side, the first half was dominating for Wolves on their attack. And Bliss only barely managed to find 2 defenses. All of the rounds that Wolves won on their attack, there was no question about them. They were dominant. Can they do so here to stave off defeat?
Bliss have certainly kept Wolves honest here on their defense, but now that Bliss are going to go over to their own defense, they're going to face the same adversities that Wolves faced. They're going to face the difficulties of falling off, being stuck in power positions that, well, Wolves, when we saw them attack this map, it was like, wow, you know, that's seriously impressive stuff with how well drilled they were at clearing some of those power positions and just getting the work done.
Big hole coming right up for Bibu as he opens up the main breach. Very few players on site. In fact, funny to see that that wall has not even been reinforced for Fisho Guy. He's opening it up as potential line of sights in the late rounds to deny that plant. Still no rotation and elbow as well, nor a reinforcement. So Bliss are keeping their options open as this roam is very much alive.
Pretty extended roam, all things considered as well. I believe there is still a player within the top floor. That's Oda on the Azami. Now, being the Azami, you would think on paper, he's able to fall off safely, be able to plug up some of those cutoff angles and actually be able to jump down into safety. Although playing on mezzanine can be pretty tough spot for Oda all on his own some.
A ton of progress so far from Mowgli. Almost a wall bang. Damn. A lot of damage onto Oda, but I don't think Mowgli will know it as of yet. P4 rotating towards West Main. It looks like this is where the idea is to push. But hang on a second, Brendo getting aggressive, loses his life and forfeits the opening engagement for Bliss.
Oh, and here goes Mowgli as well, down the West Main stairs. He's seen that mirror window on the wall, but is going to be met by the resistance of 2 more Bliss players. Ooh, Fisher guy in a tough spot inside of Elbow. Could be cut off here by the trench stairs, but not quite. He takes a little bit of health off of Shinka, but takes some of his own as well. Tough spot now for Wolves. I think there's a backstab coming in for Team Bliss. Isn't there still a player in the top floor? Yeah, it's Sage.
He's biding his time, though. There's so much left on the clock. And Deadshot, I believe, is watching that flank. So too premature from Sage could cost Bliss the round, but still Wolves, there's a lot of work to be done pushing onto this bomb site. Oh, he's gone all the way back down. He finds the double. Oh, Mitchell Sage, you might have just made it happen for Bliss here. Wolves must salvage this round now. 3v3, no numbers disadvantage, but there's no doubt about it. This flank is killer.
And this is such a tough spot for Wolves now. Do they wrap around and deal with Sage, or do they just hit the bomb site? Shinka has it all to do. He's going to take the 1 versus 1 all by himself onto Sage. Deadshot's going to try and help him, but the time is sinking away.
Oh, no. It's all falling apart. Wolves started so strong, but Oda closes it. The Aussies have done what no Aussie team has done for a hell of a long time. Crikey, they've taken down the Wolves.
I cannot believe that has just happened. The upset of the day, Team Bliss to take down the 3rd place of EU. The stronghold of Wolves will finally go down in the group stage.
Just look at them. They cannot believe it. What a phenomenal game from the Rising Stars from down under. They can hardly believe it themselves. Smiles all around for Bliss as they come back 5 rounds in a row against the mighty Wolves. And the faces on the French side are quite in contrast to what we saw from Bliss. Glum faces galore.
Yeah, tough, really tough spot now for Wolves. I mean, these guys were in the same group in Copenhagen, but they didn't get their match against each other. Now they have, and they've proven that Bliss has actually come out stronger. Wolves, I think, really need to have a rethink. They are going through their rebuild period at the moment, of course. Bringing in Deadshot, it's not going to be easy. When you have that kind of roster change, it's not going to be easy when you've had a tough 2023 to break your way into the playoffs. And going down to Bliss, oh, it's such a tough one now for those guys.
Look, I'd like to agree with you, Mandy, about Wolves' rebuild period. And yes, it's true, it takes a long time to build back up to what you had and surpass that. But Bliss have only had Wettables for, what, a month? 2 months? In contrast to what we've seen from Wolves, they've had Deadshot for almost the whole year long, and yet Bliss are looking even better than when they had Jigsaw. Forget about Koi, forget about all that, forget about leaving Australia to join EU. Jigsaw's not here, and Bliss have just taken down the 3rd place from Europe. What an insane showing.
Yeah, crazy stuff from those guys. I don't think that, I mean, they look like absolutely bewildered at the end of that. That was like,
next
wow,
level stuff.
You know, that's incredible.
Yeah, and what a tantalizing game. I got to say, like, that was set up to be a pretty rough game for Aussie fans. I'll just say that. Like, the first half, Wolves were insane. Like, those rounds were nuts. And I was just watching it thinking, damn, Australian Siege just cannot touch Europe because Wolves, these rounds are so flawless, so dominant, so well thought out. And as soon as the side switched, Bliss started to turn up that heat. When they got onto the attack, they made the server their own.
Yeah, it was an attacker's game at the end of the day. Not something that we expect with the meta these days, but it is still Chalet through and through. And Team Bliss playing a game I would argue is almost just as well drilled as Wolves as well on their attacks. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly how to dislodge those power positions in the same way that Wolves were able to do. And I really think that was just a turning point once we hit that attack off.
Well, next up, Bliss will have to play either the winner of Space Station or Alpha Alferis. And in contrast, Wolves go down into that elimination BO3 match down in the lower bracket later today. Can you believe that? We could be sending home Wolves today. It could be Wolves versus Space Station if Alpha Alferis managed to get an upset. Today has been upset central. We saw it right at the start with Bleed taking down CAG. We've seen a number of upsets since then. I gotta say, I think this is the biggest one so far in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think it's definitely fair enough to say. I think I called it early and you were like, Mandy?
At 6-6, I had to keep us down to reality for a second because, yeah, 3 rounds in a row is great, but that doesn't mean the game is over. And wow, what a showing. We were gassing up P4 like nothing else, but have a look at the Aussie. Mitchell Sage himself, top of the scoreboard for both teams, 15-7. Not only does he have the most kills in this server, but he's got the tied least deaths as well. He is such a phenomenal player.
Yeah, absolutely. the big round was that final round as well to completely seal the deal for Team Bliss, realizing that, hang on, they haven't drawn me out just yet, and then going in for, I believe it was a 3K to close out the game. That's pretty nuts, just having an absolutely phenomenal game, both on the attack and on the decision making on the defense as well.
So next up, we have, if we look at the schedule, one more BO1 for the opening rounds of the games before we move into those elimination matches like Wolves will play later on today. So next up on the B stream here is Space Station versus Alpha Altheris. That is the other match on the other side of the bracket in Group D here. And then the winner of that will play Bliss. The loser of that will go and play Wolves in the elimination match at the end of today. As we can see, we've already set up NIP versus Space Station, NIP versus Sandbox, the other S team with the yellow logo, as the elimination match from the other group. Kind of crazy to say that we've got NIP, I was about to say Space Station again, NIP, Sandbox, and Wolves, three well-known teams, none of which have made their debut today at a major. All of them are in elimination. In contrast, Crest and GK, both major debut teams. Bliss, an underdog team, all three have made it through to the upper bracket.
It's really exciting. It's been a very thrilling group stage. Stark contrast to Copenhagen. I'll just say that. Copenhagen was like through and through predictable, but this group stage has been like, damn, spicy.
Yeah, phenomenal. I'm really excited to see what the rest of today has on offer, but we have one more BO1 in the opening games to play, and that is coming up just after this break.